Hello, Year Fours, and welcome to our next English lesson. So in today's lesson, I'm going to be taking part in an interview. So that is why you have me doing your English lesson today, and maybe not your normal teacher like you normally do. So in our previous lesson, we were boxing up our text map and we were looking at what went into the text map and what went into the different paragraphs. In today's lesson, we will be doing the following. We will be collecting new information for our innovation. So we know that non-chronological reports are filled with facts and information. So this isn't something that we make up. These are real facts, real information that has been collected, and we've put it all together in our non-chronological reports. Before we start, I want you to pause the video and think, what made Boudica a great leader? So what made her really good at what she did? So pause the video now and give that a think. We're going to brainstorm some of these ideas. We're going to write down a mind map and create some ideas that we know that we've gathered from what we've learned about her and from our non-chronological report. We're going to put that together to brainstorm why she was a great leader. So to start off, I know that Boudica was the rightful leader and owner of the land in which they lived. Okay, we know that she was married to the king, and the king Prasutagus said that when he died, he wanted to make sure that she owned half the land. So they were going to share it with the Romans. They were meant to share the land with the Romans. And we know from what we've learned that the Romans went against this. The Romans did not believe that a woman should own land. And they went against what they had agreed to with Prasutagus, and when he died, they decided to take all of it themselves. And this obviously really angered Boudica, and she led her army in, or she created an army and led a rebellion against the Romans. Okay, so we know that. And from what we've read as well, we know that she was fierce, she was brave. We also know that she was determined, so she was angered by the Romans, and she was determined to fight her battle and fight for what she believed in and fight for what was rightfully hers. We also know that she didn't want to end up in the hands of the Romans, and something that she's poisoned herself, and that's how she died. So she didn't actually die at the hands of the Romans themselves. So we all know that this made her a great leader. She was brave, she was fierce, she fought for what was right. She led an army, which is a huge thing. She led an army in a rebellion. They rebelled against the Romans. They rebelled against what the Romans said should happen. All of these things made her a great leader. So today we are going to be boxing up, well, we're going to be mind mapping, at least, I should say, mind mapping. Ideas about another strong female leader that we know. And this is who our next innovation is going to be based about. So today we are going to be talking about Mrs. Bowen. And I want you to think, What makes Mrs. Bowen a good leader? How has she led our school beautifully? So how does she lead it well? How is she capable of leading it? What does she do that makes her a good leader? You know that she leads one of the most outstanding schools in Slough. So what has she done to get it to that outstanding, to be that outstanding school that we all know and we all love? So today we are going to be mind mapping ideas. So just like we have before, we're going to be mind mapping ideas about Mrs. Bowen. And to do this, we need to have some information about her. So what I have done is I have interviewed Mrs. Bowen and asked her some really interesting questions that we are going to be using in our box up tomorrow. So what you need to do is you are going to watch the interview after this. You are then going to take notes as you are listening, and you can go back and forth, making sure you get down all the information that you need. And we're going to create a mind map with headings about, we could say things like, why is Mrs. Bowen a good leader? And I want you to think about some headings that you could have in a non-chronological report. So why is she a good leader? What does she look like? Like, maybe you want some fun facts, right? Maybe, sorry. Maybe you want some fun facts. Maybe you want to know how she became a teacher, or how she became a head teacher. Maybe you want to write a bit about her early life. I'm just writing down some headings here that you may want to use. Okay, so, and then underneath one of these, you will then write facts that you get from our interview that would fit into these. Facts about Mrs. Bowen that you could then use in your box up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video, and then we're going to watch the interview, and then I'm going to go over what your tasks are going to be. All right, good morning, Year 4s. As part of our lesson today, we are going to be interviewing Mrs. Bowen and learning a little bit more about her. As you know, she leads us very capably as the leader of our TLAP school. So we are going to ask her a few questions about herself that we can then use for our innovation. So thank you for joining us, Mrs. Bowen.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting me, Year 4.
All right, Mrs. Bowen, just to start off, we wanted to know a little bit more about where you grew up and what kinds of things you enjoyed at school.
Well, you might not all know this, but I grew up in Langley. I went to primary school in Langley. I went to Holy Family. And when I was older, I went to St. Joseph's, which is the Catholic school in Wexham. So I'm very proud to be in Langley, and I hope you feel proud of living in Langley as well. When I was at school, I knew I had to work hard. My head teacher was very, very strict and made sure that we did our very, very best, which meant that when I went on to secondary school, I started to get really interested in computers. Now, this is going to sound strange. There was not a computer room in the whole school, and there was one computer in the classrooms. It was called a BBC Micro. So when I was at school, I was very interested in computing because originally I wasn't going to be a teacher. So I liked doing computing.
Thank you. So you've just mentioned that you enjoyed computing. So did you always want to get into education, even if it was from a computing aspect, or?
Well, what happened was, you see, my parents always told me, like I tell you, to be the best you can be. And my dad worked in computers, so I decided I'd be like my dad and copy him into computers. So I actually went to university. I enjoyed reading. I went to university, and my very first degree is in business computer systems. And then I started working in the office and it was a little bit too boring for me. I didn't like it. So I decided, what could I do that will make a difference? How can I help people? Because working in an office doesn't let you help people, or not in the way that I wanted to. So what I was able to do then was go back and train and be a teacher. Now that took a lot of hard work. My family were very supportive, which is good. They helped me to follow dream number 2. And so there I was back in university and studied to be a teacher. And then what I thought of, if I don't like teaching, I could use my computers and my teaching and write programs to help children in school. That was my plan 3, but obviously I didn't need that one.
Was there anyone specifically who inspired you as you were becoming a teacher?
Well, I first of all have to talk about all of the homework, because it is hard as you go older and older in school. You know it yourself, year 4, you have to get more and more work. So that's what happened all the way through studying. And sometimes I thought studying was a bit hard, especially, to be quite honest, as I had a little child as well. And so my mum was really good at helping me know that through the tough days, better days come, a bit like the rainbow stuff that we talk about at school. So that helped me be able to really, really stay committed, and that built my resilience. And then when I was in college, I didn't like something called trigonometry and maths. Very silly not to like something in maths, that's ridiculous. But I just felt I wasn't very good at it. And I had a teacher called Mr. Brown. And Mr. Brown used to spend lots of time and help me get better and better so that I could obviously pass my maths exams. And I'm a bit okay with trigonometry now, but if you need help, I'd say ask Mr. Burford, he's better at it than me. So those people gave me, so my mum looking after me, Mr. Brown in college, all of my teachers through school, they all showed me how to be a really good caring person. And then when I was going through my teacher training, in every single school I went to, I was able to find a teacher that helped me. I could talk about my problems that I was having, whether it was planning a lesson or managing my time, because teaching's hard work. And they were always able to help me. So I think then that the person that helped me best when I got into schools was my old head teacher, and her name was Mrs. Coffey.
And as obviously you worked really hard to be a teacher, was there a moment that you decided, I think I'm going to work towards being a head teacher? And what steps did you have to take to become a head teacher?
Well, from the minute somebody becomes a teacher, they can become a head teacher. So maybe Mrs. Van Huffel can become a head teacher of the Langley Academy Primary when Mrs. Bowen gets too old. So she can look forward to that. It's always about having dreams and being able to move forward. So I was a teacher in year 4, was where I started. And then I decided I wanted to learn another year group. So Mrs. Coffey helped me, and I went down to year 2 and I became a leader in Key Stage 1. And after doing that for a couple of years, I went to be the leader of year 5 and 6. And then I stayed there for years and years and years. And during that time, I did lots of extra studies, lots of extra courses, how children learn, how we can make learning fun. And then I decided that this is really good in another school. Maybe I can work with some other teachers and help some other children. And that's how I became a head teacher. There are different courses you can do to help you be a head teacher, but I was quite lucky because I'd been teaching for so many years, double figures, nearly 20 years, I didn't have to do the extra courses. And I saw the job advert to set up a brand new school, and they needed someone who had lots of ideas, and I was very brave and filled in the application form.
What is your favourite thing about being the head teacher at TLAP?
The best thing about being the head teacher of TLAP is just our school family. It is absolutely amazing. I miss our family so much because obviously we can't see each other. But when I sit back and think, how did we get to be such a close family? How did we get to be supportive? And I think it's because starting the school up from new, we were able to get to know each year group one at a time. We were able to make changes, not a lot of changes, but look at everything we're doing. What are we doing really well? And what can we do even better? And that's exactly what the teachers do when they're marking books. They help you think about what you're doing well and how you can get better. And through that, we've made the best community, I'm going to say, the best community in Slough. And we know that I feel very proud of the school. So the best thing about our school is our community, our family. And I'm really, really pleased with the fact that learning is fun at the Langley Academy Primary. And when it's fun, you want to do so much more. And that's what I'm incredibly proud of. Our free flow, our children's projects, and all the great opportunities the teachers give you.
And what qualities do you think make a good leader?
Leadership is very, very hard. And we've got to remember that we're all leaders. When you're playing in the playground with each other, you're being a leader. And a good game needs somebody who's got ideas, but it also needs somebody who can listen. And it's no different, really, being a head teacher. I have to have the ideas, but I've got to be able to listen to what other people are saying. I've got to listen to Mr. Bryant. I've got to listen to the government. I've got to listen to the teachers, your parents, and yourself. So I have to listen to what everybody else says and then really think what's going to be the best thing for the school. So listening is important. You need to have a plan. We talk about our vision and being the best you can be. So we need to have a vision, and our curiosity, our exploration, discovery, that's been our vision all the way through. So if it's not exciting, then it doesn't fit in with our plan, and it means it's something I shouldn't listen to. And there's one other thing you need to be a kind person. You need to be able to accept when you've made a good choice and accept when you've made a bad choice. So you have to be humble and kind, and obviously courageous, because it's a brave step leading anywhere.
What things do you like to do for fun, Mrs. Bowen?
Oh, do you know, at the moment, this one's not very healthy, but I think it's because of lockdown. At the moment, I quite like watching TV with my family. Now, that might sound a little bit strange, but it means that we're all in our living room, we're relaxing, nobody's doing any schoolwork or homework. We're just, everything's away, we're able to talk to each other and relax and talk about our day. So we'll watch different programs depending on who's picked the TV program. That means we've got to do sharing so that we choose. Sometimes I even have to watch Paw Patrol. So that's my unhealthy thing that I'm doing. I also like, when I can, going out for dinner with my friends. Obviously, we can't do that at the moment. I love eating, and it's so nice to be out and relax and talk. So that's one of my other hobbies. And you might not know this one, but I also own some roller skates. And so from time to time, I like to take my roller skates out and just have a little peter up and down the road and just have some fun on my skates. That's my healthy one. Do
you have any special skills other than roller skating?
Special skills? Well, I don't know if I've got too many special skills. I mean, my mum will say we're special because everybody's special. I like to talk a lot. Now, why that's special is because I've got lots of different experiences. I share my experiences with other people, and that helps them be able to get better. So I help some teachers who want to get into leadership in school. So my special skills got to be being able to talk, being confident to talk, and listen to what people want so I can give them advice to get better. And I really do that in my spare time.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Mrs. Bowen, and we will hopefully be able to share some of our innovations with you.
I look forward to reading them. Thank you ever so much. I look forward to seeing your work. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Right. Your tasks for today's lesson are as follows. I would like you to mind map ideas and collect information from the interview with Mrs. Bowen. These are facts. These are things that Mrs. Bowen herself has shared with us. And that's the kind of information that we would like to include in our non-chronological reports. Facts and information. You're going to plan your own paragraph subheadings. So what paragraphs could you have? And then these will obviously be then used in your box up. And then underneath that, you could maybe put some of the facts that you are going to include and some ideas for paragraphs. Finally, I would like you to create a vocabulary box for your report and write some interesting vocabulary in it. So in your vocabulary box, I want you to think about what we're talking about. Think about what makes a good leader. Think about the words that we used to describe Boudica. Think about words you could use to describe Mrs. Bowen. What makes her a strong leader? What makes her stand out? Think about all of that those kinds of words and technical vocabulary, and create yourself a vocabulary box with interesting vocabulary that you can use. Maybe you want to talk about her being unique. That's a fantastic word to use. Think about maybe how you would describe Mrs. Bowen, how you would describe her job. And try and create a vocabulary box with interesting vocabulary that you can use when we are boxing up our ideas and then when we are writing out our final non-chronological report. Don't forget to share this information with us on Tapestry. I would like to see your mind map. You are more than welcome to draw one just like I did, and then write Mrs. Bowen, and then the ideas that come off of it, and then bullet point your facts underneath your headings that you've written just like I did. You can have your vocabulary box on that as well. Make sure you've got some ideas of what your paragraphs could be. Maybe you want to include a fun fact box. Maybe you want quick facts. Maybe you want interesting information. That could be another box. So all of that could be included. Don't forget to upload your work by 4 p.m. this afternoon.